Hi friends, Chris Van Dusen here. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you and your family are safe and healthy. And if anybody in your family is a healthcare worker, I want to say a special thank you to them because they are the true heroes.
Or a grocery store worker, or a postal
anybody
worker,
that works. Yeah.
pharmacy,
You guys,
everybody.
you're doing the best. So,
Picking vegetables.
anything. Let's do another drawing, shall we? So we're on to episode number 5 of Chris Van Doodles, and today we're going to do a very, very simple drawing. I think you guys will all be able to do this one. And we're going to draw D. D is Mr. Magee's dog from the first, from all the Mr. Magee books. So we're going to do a drawing right here. Hold your page like this, and it'll be really quick and easy, I promise. Here we go. We're going to start with a line that looks like this. It's a curved line. It's going to go up at an angle like this. It's going to curve around like this. It's going to come down right about there. Almost looks like a candy cane kind of shape. Oop, let me center that for you guys. All right, so this is going to be the top of D's head. This is really easy. Now, right at this point where we left off, we're going to do a line that comes out here and curves back around like this. So it almost looks like a crooked heart shape, but this is a little bit straighter on this side here, okay? And you could draw lightly at first if you want. So that's going to be D's head. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add D's collar. And we're going to have it slightly curved so it looks a little bit dimensional. Curve it down like this. And that's going to be D's collar. Okay. Now we can add a little ring here, and we can add a little dog tag there if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to, but we can add some little details like that, like the details of her buckle and things like that on her collar. So now we have D's basic head shape, her collar, and now we're going to go to the back. We're going to start right here, and we're going to come down. It looks something like that. D has a pretty big head and a pretty small body. So just do a slight, see how it's slightly curved? That's what you want to get the back shape. Now way down at the bottom of this line, we're going to add a little shape that looks kind of like our head shape. Looks like this because D has a stubby little tail. And if you want, you can fill that in dark. That's D's tail. She also has a one spot on the back of her back. Back of her back? Is that how you say that? Anyway, it looks like that, and you can fill that in if you want to. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to find a spot sort of right here. Here's her spot on her back, and here's her collar. It's kind of right there, and we're going to come down and we're going to draw her front leg. Now, it comes down like this. It's slightly curved. Let's go over here and do a slight curve like this. And then right here, we're going to add her little paw. Looks like that. And then you can add a couple little marks for her toes. Now the other one we're going to do is it's going to come right down underneath her little dog tag, and we're going to come right down here, not quite as far as the other one, but the same basic shape, like this, and up like this. Don't go too far up because we're going to add a line there that indicates the bottom. Okay, have you got that? Ah, that looks good. Now, right here, about halfway down her leg, we're going to put a little point there, and we're going to bring a line that curves up kind of like that. And that's going to be the underside of her belly. Now let's go back here to a point right here where her tail ends, the last of that line, right there. We're going to do this. We're going to do a big curvy line that's going to indicate her back leg. By the way, I keep saying her because a lot of you guys don't know that D is actually a girl dog. It's mentioned once in the Mr. Magee books. I think it's in the first book that it's a girl dog. So this is going to be her haunch, the top of her back leg. And then right under here, a point right about there, we're going to do her back foot, and it's going to look like this. And it's going to come back up, and it's going to sort of match that right about there. And then you could add a couple more toe marks like that. Now we have to sort of finish underneath here, so we're going to find a spot right about here that sort of matches up here. We're going to continue that line so it looks like that's her belly, right? Now we also should show her back leg. So in my drawing, and it may be different in yours, and again, don't worry if your drawing is not coming out exactly right. It doesn't have to be right. You know, I make mistakes. Remember, I don't know if you watched on Friday's video, I couldn't draw at all, so I just read a book instead. But I'm going to come back to this point right here, and I'm going to put a line that goes over behind her front leg. This is going to be the bottom of her back leg. And then here, I'm just going to do a little line that looks like this. That indicates the top of her back foot. See, like this is right back there. Got it? Excellent. Okay, now I'm going to put a little shadow underneath here so it actually looks like she's standing on a surface. So I'm going to do this. Add a little shadow under here and just a little shadow under her front paws like that. Remember back when we did the, oh, let's do a little shadow under here too. This is under her tail, so it looks like that. Now remember we did some cross hatching when we did the first Mercy Watson drawing, so it's just some little lines. I'm going to put some little lines back here that sort of indicate that that back leg is sort of in shadow underneath D. Let's put a little shadow underneath a foot like that. Perfect. Now, if you want to be really technical, you can bring a little line in like this because actually her back leg kind of wraps like that. Now let's go back up and finish Dee's head. Dee has a big, oh, let's, wait, before we do that, let's add a little shadow underneath her collar too. That would look good. And then we can do some little lines in her collar like it's a woven, maybe red. It's usually a red collar that I have, so. You can make it any color you want, though. It doesn't really matter. Now let's go back and finish her nose. Dee has a pretty big nose, so on this line here, we're going to find a point about halfway, right about there, and I'm going to do a curved line that comes down like this. So I'm going to go like this. And that is going to be her nose, that whole big shape. Now we can fill that in, but leave part of it white. Leave the top sort of section white. So just fill in this bottom section if you want. And in the books, actually, Dee has a blue nose. Now, why does she have a blue nose? I have no idea. I just think it looks cool to have a dog with a blue nose. So all my animals that have noses like dogs, I usually make blue. So see, now it looks like the top of her nose is kind of catching the light. Now, dogs have that cleft right underneath their middle of their nose. So I'm going to find a point right about there, and I'm just going to take a little curved line that comes down something like that. Right? Now the next thing we're going to do is we'll do her mouth. And I'm going to find a point sort of, let's see, about a third of the way across here. And I'll just make her mouth kind of smiling like this. Maybe I'll just make, she's just a little smiley mouth like that. Now, I will take my eraser and I'll erase that little line in there because we'll have her sticking her tongue out like a happy dog. So I'm just going to do a little line that looks like this and then that little crease in the middle of the tongue like that. Excellent. You can add a little shadow up at the top of the mouth if you want. And then we'll just add some little whiskers. They can be any place you want. It doesn't really matter. Just have fun with some little spots that go across and indicate some whisker marks on the dog. Dee also has these big floppy ears that look something like this. So I'm going to start right about here. I'm going to find a point like right there. And I'm going to go in a little bit. And then I'm going to do this. And these can be any shape you want because they're big floppy ears. But I'm going to make mine kind of curvy like this. And come down, curve, and come back almost there. And then it's going to be darkened in. And usually when I darken this in, I just kind of do circles. You can do whatever you want, but I just kind of circled, make it look kind of like a fluffy ear. You can even go outside the line if you want and make it look like it's kind of furry, like a big furry fluffy ear. But that'll be one of her ears. And then I'll show you how I do the second ear on the other side of her head in just a second. See, I'll just finish that in. Big floppy ears. In fact, I'm going to kind of make it go outside the edge so it looks like it's fluffy. So it softens that edge a little bit. Oh, and if you want, this is a good time to smudge too. Ooh, love that smudging. All right. Now we'll make her other ear cocked like she's hearing something. Maybe she's hearing something over in the distance here. So do this. Start about opposite of where we were here. Just about there, I'm thinking. And I'm going to do a line that goes like this. It's a slight curved line that goes up like that. All right? Now at the end of this line, we're going to kind of go, we're going to do like a very shallow U-shaped, kind of a curved line that looks like this. All right? You're probably wondering, what the heck is that going to be? All right, now at the end of this line, we're going to bring another curved line that goes down and curves up like this. So see, this is her ear sort of flopped over. And it almost comes up to this point, but not quite, because we're going to continue this line like that. And that will be black, all right? And this can all be that same black that we did before with some curlicues like that. Now wait, we're not done with this ear yet. Once we finish coloring that in, we have to indicate the underside of her ear, because the underside of her ear in the books is kind of this pink color. So I'm going to go back here about halfway down this curve, and I'm going to just do a line that looks like this. And that's the underside of her ear. And we can soften that edge if you'd like. It's totally up to you guys, whatever you want to do. And then what I'm going to do to indicate that that is the underside of the ear, I'm going to put some more of that cross hatching. Actually, just a little bit of hatch line. I'm just going to put a little line that goes across like that. Perfect. Yeah. There she is. She's hearing something in the distance. The last thing, of course, we have to do is we have to do her eyes. And her eyes are just circles, and they fit right about here. So I'll do one circle here, pretty small, and one circle here, close to the edge. And maybe she's listening to something over here, so I'm going to put the pupils this way, looking. And then we'll finish it up by just doing a couple little eyebrows that look like that. Just little black lines that look something like that. And that is basically, see, I smudged a little bit here, but that's all right. That is basically how you draw Dee, the dog. Tomorrow, I think we might tackle Mr. Magee, because someone wrote in and said they'd like me to draw Mr. Magee. So I think tomorrow we might try Mr. Magee. Until then, stay well. Try to get outside, get a breath of fresh air every now and then, and we'll see you soon. Bye.